Does this sound familiar? You've got your nose in a book for what feels like days. You're highlighting, you're rereading, you're trying to absorb every single detail. But then test day comes around, and the grades just don't match the effort. It's an incredibly calming and, let's be honest, super frustrating experience.
And this right here, this is what we can call the study trap. You see the massive effort on one side, just hours of passively reading your notes. And then the result on the other side? Forgetting the most important stuff when you need it most. It really proves a crucial point. The way you study is often so much more important than how long you study.
So the good news is, the answer isn't about magically finding more hours in the day. It's about having a way better strategy. Let's break down a really powerful framework, and it's built on 3 core pillars that can completely flip your whole approach to learning. All right, our first pillar. This is all about setting yourself up for success before you even crack open a textbook. We're talking about how you structure your time and plan your study sessions for maximum, and I mean maximum, impact. Let's kick things off with a big one: spaced repetition. Look, our brains just are not designed for cramming everything in the night before an exam. It doesn't work. But spacing out your reviews, looking at material today, then maybe again tomorrow, then in a few days, it gives your brain multiple chances to say, hey, this is important, and lock it into long-term memory. It's the difference between remembering something for a day and actually knowing it. Okay, so how do you actually manage your focus during those sessions? Well, meet the Pomodoro technique. This isn't about studying for 5 hours straight until your eyes glaze over. No way. It's about working in these short, intense bursts that keep your mind fresh and prevent that burnout feeling where you're just staring at the page.
And the process is so simple. You just set a timer for 25 minutes and you give one task your absolute undivided attention. No phone, no distractions. When that timer goes off, you take a quick 5-minute break. Get up, stretch, grab some water. Then you just repeat the cycle. This method is amazing for maintaining high-quality focus.
And one last tip for planning your attack: mix it up. Instead of just grinding away at one subject for hours, try switching between a couple of different topics. This is a technique called interleaving. I mean, think about it like a workout, right? You wouldn't go to the gym and just do bicep curls for 3 hours. Mixing it up forces your brain to stay on its toes and builds much stronger, more adaptable problem-solving skills. So that brings us to our second pillar. You've planned out your time, but what should you actually be doing during those focused study blocks? This is all about training your brain with active, hands-on techniques that really work. Now, this brings up a super important distinction: passive versus active learning. So many of us get stuck in those passive habits, just rereading notes, highlighting text. I mean, it feels productive, but honestly, it's not very effective. Active learning, stuff like quizzing yourself or trying to explain a concept out loud, that forces your brain to really grapple with the material on a much deeper level. And at the very heart of active learning is this powerhouse concept, active recall. So instead of just looking at the answer, you close the book and you force yourself to pull the information from your own memory. Every single time you do this, you're strengthening that neural pathway. You're making it faster and easier to get that info on test day. It is literally a workout for your brain. Here's another incredibly powerful active technique. Just explain the concept out loud. Seriously. Try to teach it to a friend or your mom, or even just talk to yourself in the mirror. This process forces you to organize your thoughts, and it immediately shows you where the gaps in your understanding are. You know the saying, if you can't explain it simply, you don't really understand it well enough yet. And here's a simple but really effective brain hack called dual coding. Our brains have separate channels for words and for pictures. So when you combine words, like a key definition, with a simple little drawing or a diagram, you create 2 different memory hooks for that same idea. You are literally doubling your chances of remembering it. And that brings us to our third and final pillar. And honestly, this is the foundation for everything else. You can have the best strategies in the world, but if your brain isn't physically ready to learn, none of it is going to work. So let's talk about how to fuel your engine. First up, sleep. And I'm serious, this is not a luxury. It's a biological necessity for learning. While you're sleeping, your brain is working hard, consolidating memories, basically filing away everything you studied that day. Pulling an all-nighter is probably one of the worst things you can do because you're skipping the most critical step in the entire memory-making process. And it's not just about sleep either. Regular exercise plays a huge role here by increasing blood flow to the brain.
which in turn improves your focus and alertness. A well-rested, physically active brain just operates on a completely different level than one that's tired and sedentary. I mean, the difference is just staggering. These habits are totally non-negotiable for peak performance.
So, we have covered a lot of ground. Let's zoom out for a second and put all these pieces together into one clear, actionable blueprint that you can start using like today. It really all comes down to these 3 pillars. First, you plan your attack using smart scheduling like spaced repetition and the Pomodoro technique. Second, you train your brain during those sessions with active methods like recall and explaining it out loud. And third, you fuel your engine with the sleep and exercise your brain desperately needs to function at its best. Plan, train, fuel. That's your new mantra. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this question. You don't have to change everything overnight, okay? Just look at these ideas and think, what is the one new technique you can commit to trying in your very next study session? Because starting small is the absolute key to building a smarter and way more effective way to learn.